So I'm going to talk about a topic that's literally been beat to the ground already.
I'm broke, so I need to fight.
I lost 25 grand going out there. I'm not a top 10 guy making crazy money yet.
And I still just find that crazy. Listen, I don't expect these guys, I don't think they should make a lot of money when they're first starting. Like they're not selling anything, so why should they make money? A lot of it at least. I agree the top guys are the ones who should get paid way more. But man, I mean, can't you start these guys off at like 30, 40K? Just base or I guess you can do 20 and 20. I don't like the win bonus either. I don't like how that's structured. I think it should just be a flat rate. Maybe a little bonus if you get a finish. How about that? Do a flat rate. Do like 30K. Let's say 30K for a starting fighter, like their first fight in the UFC ever. $30,000, that's a lot of money. Obviously, you take the taxes out, you got to pay your people. You're still left with a good amount. You can live off that for a few months. Maybe. Even that's still cutting it, but I'd say 30, 40K. And then do like a 20K finish bonus, because we want finishes, right? That'll stop a lot of the boring fights we've been having. That will deter a lot of these guys that just have a boring fighting style where they just lay on their opponent. But it's like, why is Joe Pyfer broke? Why is he still broke? Like, that's insane. He should at least be a little bit comfortable. Again, I don't even think these guys should make like 100K for their first fight, because if they're not selling anything, then their value just isn't that high. It's not like other sports with pay-per-view, it's different. And, these NBA, NFL players, baseball, they get paid just a ridiculous amount of money, like an absurd amount. So you just can't compare the UFC to them. But it's like, why has it not gone up? Like the fighter pay hasn't even gone up, right? Like, I could be wrong. I got to fact check that, but I believe your first fight in the UFC, the contract is always 12 and 12. So $24,000 if you win. Take the taxes out. You're most likely in Vegas, and you got to pay your team. So again, I got to check this, and I'll put it in the video. But what was the starting pay 10 years ago? And listen, it definitely should be higher with inflation. With what's happened to money in the last 10 years, it definitely shouldn't be the same. I mean, the value of that money is way lower than it was 10 years ago. So I just don't really get it, man. I mean, people say nowadays like the quality of the UFC is going down. We're not getting as good of fights, but the money's still going up because they up the prices of the tickets and the pay-per-view. So the UFC is still making billions of dollars a year, and they haven't upped their fighter pay. Again, just give them a respectable amount. They made it this far. They're in the UFC. Give them 40K. Just give them 40K flat. And then as they get better, as they get more finishes, it keeps going up. I just can't believe it's not like that yet. I can't believe it's still... You get $12,000 if you lose your first fight in the UFC. Or maybe it's 10 and 10. It might be 10 and 10, actually. You get $20,000 if you win your first fight in the UFC. Wow, that's crazy. And then half of it's gone to taxes, and then you got to pay your coach, and then you got to pay your gym, and then you got to pay your manager. So it's like, what do you have left? A few thousand to live off of until they give you another fight? Because that's the thing, you can't really fight, at least 99% of the time. You can't fight every 2 months, every 3 months. It's just not realistic. You're going to get injured. Like, every one of these fighters is always injured. You always hear about it. And I've also heard the UFC doesn't let you. Maybe that's if you're a fighter that's making more money, but they don't even like when you fight so often because they have to pay you so much. I've heard that from someone, I forget who. Yeah, again, I know this subject has been talked about so many times, and it's so old now, but it's still going on, though. That's the problem. Like, it's not getting fixed. So that's why it should probably still be talked about. I mean, it's not like the UFC can't afford to pay the guys a little more. What do they get paid? 12% or something? 20%? I'll put it on the screen, but man, up that to even 30, 40%. I'm not even saying 50 or 60 or 80. Maybe they shouldn't get majority of the money. I know Dana and all the owners are going to get a lot. That's how it goes. But yeah, I still find it crazy. These guys are like, this isn't even really a dream job. Like, unless you're passionate about it, which I know if you made it to the UFC, you must be passionate about fighting, but it's crazy that it's not even really a dream job until you make it to the tippity top. It's like a struggle. It's still a struggle when you're in the UFC. You haven't made enough to retire your family. You haven't even made enough to live off of barely. If you're not insanely good and get to the top. Like, are these guys even like excited? Again, if you have that passion, then you probably are. Like, passion just overrides everything. But it's probably hard for a lot of these guys to even get excited. Like, wow, I finally made it to the UFC. I've been dreaming of this moment. $12,000. Wow, I'm still broke. Remember Jared Cannonier said that a few years ago in his interview. Joe Pyfer just said it. He was broke. He needed to take this fight. That's literally what he said. And yeah, I just hope it changes. I just think if you made it this far, if you're putting your life on the line, if you're risking brain damage and all this stuff, you should get at least $30,000 for a fight. And there's no health insurance, none of that. The UFC is just a little scummy. It's a little scummy with their business model. But I mean, business isn't nice, so what can you expect? But they've just, I know they couldn't always do this. Like, the UFC did struggle for years. But now they're an established organization. A lot of people, like, it's pretty mainstream now. You know, I talk to friends that I haven't talked to in a while, and they're fans of UFC, like people that I just don't expect to be fans of it. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I'd say 2020 was when it kind of exploded. But yeah, 6 years ago, no one was really a fan of the UFC. Like, it was such a niche thing, and now it's very popular. It makes billions of dollars every year, so they can afford to upgrade the product for their fighters and be a little bit more fair and compensate them a bit more. I hate hearing all these stories about these even pretty well-established fighters that still struggle, you know, going to the hospital and they have these injuries and they got to pay for their own flights sometimes. Like, I don't know how it exactly works, but I think Joe Pyfer said that too. Like, he had to pay like $20,000 to go to Mexico, and then he got sick. Like, so the UFC doesn't even pay for their flights or anything. Like, again, I don't know the ins and outs, but yeah, I just think it's a little scummy, and it could be way better with how established they are now. But I really don't know if it's ever going to change. I don't really see how. Like, if it hasn't happened already, I don't know how it would. I guess a fighters union is the only way. That's what people say, but they also say that's probably never going to happen because the fighters are just too against each other. There's all these lawsuits. Like, there's a new antitrust lawsuit going on. Maybe that can do something, but yeah, I mean, I just feel bad for some of these fighters, man. It sucks to see, but let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you think it's possible for anything to ever change, because I'd like to see it. I think it would just be better. I think people would be more excited. People would want to fight more, and it would just make the product all around a little better. Yeah, spend a few extra million a year. You can afford it, and you'll make your product better. Thanks for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment if you want to discuss your thoughts. Thank you.